ओम साई राम, ओम साई राम, ओम साई राम। श्री सच्चिदानंद सदगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। श्री सच्चिदानंद सदगुरु साई करणानंद महाराज की जय। श्री सच्चिदानंद सदगुरु जगत गुरु बाल युगराज साई नारायण महाराज की जय। साई लीलावती माता की जय। Sri Sai Satchitra, Chapter 48. Warding off devotees' calamities. Story of Shivade Sapatnika. At the commencement of this chapter, someone asked Hemadpant whether Sai Baba was a guru or a Sadguru. In order to answer the question, Hemadpant describes the signs or marks of the Sadguru as follows. Signs of Sadguru. He who teaches us Vedanta on six Shastras systems. He who controls the breath or brands his body with mudras, metallic marks of Vishnu's weapons, or gives pleasing discourses regarding Brahma. He who gives mantras, sacred labels to the disciples and orders them to chant the same a certain number of times but does not assure them any result in a definite time. He who, by his lengthy gross knowledge, explains beautifully the ultimate principle but has himself got no experience or self realization is not a Sadguru. But he who by his discourse creates in us a distaste for enjoyments of this world and the next and gives us a taste of self realization, who is well versed in both the theoretical and the practical knowledge, self realization deserves to be called a Sadguru. How can he who is himself devoid of self realization give it to disciples? A Sadguru does not ever in his dream expect any service or a profit from his disciple. On the contrary, he wishes to serve them. He does not think that he is great and his disciple small. Not only he loves him as his son, but regards him as equal to himself or Brahma. The main characteristic of the Sadguru is that he is a abode of peace. He is never restless nor ruffled. He has no pride of his learning. The poor and the rich, the small and the great are the same to him. Hemarpan thinks that on account of the stored or accumulation of merits in his past birth, he had the good fortune of meeting and being blessed by such a Sadguru as Sai Baba. Even in full youth, he hoarded nothing except perhaps chilam. He had no family, no friend, no home, nor any support since he was 18. His control of mind was perfect and extraordinary. He lived then in scheduled places and always abided in his self. On seeing the pure attachment of his devotees, he always acted in their interest, and hence he was, in a way, dependent on them. What experiences he gave to his devotees while he was living in flesh are felt even today after his Mahasamadhi by those who attach themselves to him. What the devotees have to do is this: they have to trim their heart lamp of faith and devotion and burned in it wicks of love. And when this is done, the flame of knowledge, self realization will be light up and shine brighter. Mad knowledge without love is dry. Nobody wants such knowledge. Without love, there is no contentment. So, we should have unbroken and unbounded love. How can we praise love? Everything is in sight before it. Without love, our reading, hearing, and the study are of no avail. In the wake of love come devotion, dispassion, peace, and liberation with all their treasures. We do not get love for anything unless we feel earnestly about it. So, where there is a real yearning, God manifests Himself. It includes love and it is a means of liberation. Now, let us revert to the main story of this chapter. A man should go to the true sand with a pure mind, or even otherwise fraudulently, and hold his feet. Ultimately, he is sure to be saved. This is illustrated by the following story. Mr. Shivani, Mr. Sapatnikar of Akalkot, Solapur district, was studying for law. A co-student, Mr. Shivani, met him. Other fellow students also got together and compared notes of their study. It was found by the questions and answers among themselves that Mr. Shivani was the least prepared for all the examination, and therefore all the students derided him. But he said that though he was not prepared, he was sure to pass the examination as his Sai Baba was there to get him through it successfully. Mr. Sapatnikar was surprised at this remark. He took Mr. Shivade aside and asked him who this Sai Baba is, whom he extolled so high. He replied, there lives in a masjid in Shirdi, Ahmednagar district of Fakir. He is a great Satpurusha. There may be other sins, but this is one unique. Unless there is a great store of merits on one accounts, one cannot see him. I fully believe in him, and what he say will never be untrue. He was assured me that I will pass definitely next year, and I am confident that I will get through the final examination by His grace. Mr. Sapatnikar laughed at his friend's confidence and jeered at him and Baba. Sapatnikars. Mr. Sapatnikar passed his examination, settled at Kalkut, and practiced as a pleader there. 10 years after this, that is 1913, he lost his only son on account of the throat disease. This broke his heart. He sought for relief by making a pilgrimage to the Pandharpur, Gangapur, and other holy places. He got no peace of mind. Then he read Vedanta, which also did not help him. In the meanwhile, he remembered Mr. Shewari remarks and his faith in Baba. He thought that he should go to the Shirdi and see Baba. He went to the Shirdi with his young brother Pandit Rao and was much pleased to see Baba from a distance. When he went near and prostrated himself and placed a coconut before Baba with feeling of devotion, the latter at once cried out, "Get away!" Sapatnikar hung down, his head moved back and sat aside. He wanted to consult somebody who would advise him how to proceed. And somebody mentioned Bala Shimpi's name. Sapatnikar saw him and sought his help. They bought Baba's photos and came with them to the masjid. Bala Shimpi took a photo in his hand, gave it to Baba and asked him whose photo it was. Baba said that this photo was of a yar, lover of him, pointing to Sapatnikar. Saying this, Baba laughed and all others joined. Bala asked Baba the significance of the laugh and the beckoned Sapatnikar to come forward and take darshan. When Sapatnikar began to prostrate himself, Baba again cried, "Get out!" Sapatnikar did not know what to do. Then they both joined their hands and said before Baba praying. Baba finally ordered Sapatnikar to clear out immediately. Both were sad and dejected as Baba's order had to be obeyed. Sapatnikar left Shirdi with a heavy heart, praying that he should be allowed to take darshan next time. Mrs. Sapatnikar. 1 year elapsed, still his mind was not peace. He went to Gangapur where he felt more restless. Then he went to the Madhepur for rest and finally decided to go to Kashi. 2 days before starting, his wife got a vision in her dream. She was going with a picture to Lakkar Shah well. There a fakir with a piece of cloth tied around his head, sitting at the foot of the neem tree, came closer to her and said, "My dear Lizzie, why get exhausted for nothing? I get your picture filled with pure water." She was afraid of the fakir and hastened back with the empty picture. The fakir followed her. At this, she was awakened and opened her eyes. She told the vision to her husband. They thought that this was an auspicious sign and they both left for the Shirdi. When they reached the masjid, Baba was absent. He had gone to Lendi. They waited till his return. When he returned, she was surprised to see that the fakir she saw in her vision exactly resembled Baba. She reverentially prostrated herself before Baba and sat down looking at him. On seeing her humility, Baba was much pleased and began to tell her story in his peculiar, characteristic manner to a third party. He said, "My arms, abdomen, and waist are paining for a long time. I took many medicines. The pains did not abate. I got sick of the medicines as they give me no relief. But I am surprised to see now that all the pains have disappeared at once." Though no name was mentioned, it was the story of Mrs. Sapatnikar herself. Her pains, as described by Baba, left her soon and she was happy. Then when Mr. Sapatnikar went ahead to take darshan, he was again welcomed with the forward get out. This time he was more penitent and preserving. He said that Baba's displeasure was due to his past deeds and resolved to make amends for the same. He determined to see Baba alone and ask for pardon for his past actions. He placed his head on Baba's feet and Baba placed his hand on him and Sapanika said stroking Baba's leg. Then the shepherdess came and said massaging Baba's back. Baba in his characteristic way began to tell the story of a banya. He related the various vicissitudes of all his life, includes the death of his only son. Sapanika was surprised to see that the story which Baba related was his own and he wondered how Baba knew every detail of it. He came to understand that he was omniscient and knew the hearts of all. When this thought crossed his mind, Baba, still addressing the shepherdess and pointing to Sapanika, said, "This fellow blames me and charges me with the killing of the son. Do I kill people's children? Why does this fellow come to the masjid and cry? Now I will do this. I will again bring that very child back in his wife's womb. Wife's womb." With these words, he placed his blessing hand on his head and comforted him, saying, "These feet are old and holy. You are carefree now. Place entire faith in me, and you will soon get your object." Sapanika was much moved with emotion. He bathed Baba's feet with his tears and then returned to his residence. Then he made preparations for worship and Naivedya and came with his wife to the masjid. He offered all this to Baba and accepted prasad from him. There was a crowd in the masjid and Sapanikar went there and saluted Baba again and again on seeing heads clashing against heads. Baba said to Sapanikar, "Oh, why do you prostrate yourself now and then? One namaskar offered with love and humility is enough." Then Sapanikar witnessed that night the Chawari procession described before. In that procession, Baba looked like a veritable Panduranga Vitthal. At the parting next day, Sapanika thought that he should first pay 1 rupee as dakshina, and if Baba asked again, instead of saying no, he should pay one more, reserving with him sufficient amount as expense for the journey. When he went to the masjid and offered 1 rupee, Baba asked for another, as per his intention. And when it was paid, Baba blessed him, saying, "Take the coconut, put it in your wife's oti, upper fold of the sari, and go away without the least anxiety." He did so, and within a year a son was born to him, and with an infant of 8 months, the couple came to Shirdi, placed him at Baba's feet, and prayed thus, "O Sainath, we do not know how to redeem your obligations. Therefore, we prostrate ourselves before you. Bless us, poor, helpless fellows, henceforth. Let your holy feet be our sole refuge. Many thoughts and ideas trouble us in waking and dream states. So turn away our minds from them to your bhajan and bless us." The son was named Murlidhar. 2 other, Bhaskar and Dinkar, were born afterwards. The Sapatnikar couple thus realized that Baba's words were never untrue and unfulfilled. Bo to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sai Karnananda Maharaj ki jai. Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Jagat Guru Bal Yogiraj Sai Narayan Maharaj ki jai. Sai Leelavati Mata ki jai. Om Sai Ram.